Nigeria Police Force, Immigration Service, and National Agricultural Development Fund get alternative power supply. Nigerian health workers declare immediate strike over unmet demands.
If at the end of the 7 days warning strike, the federal government fails to meet our demands, Jehesu have no other option than to embark on an indefinite strike.
And federal government takes bold step to mitigate flooding as committee inspects dams.
Examination, we can deduce the healthy status of this dam to say is very good.
Hello and thank you for joining me again on News Desk at 6 here on Nta News 24, and we're live from Abuja. I am Claire Adilabu Abdurrasak, and quickly we're beginning with legislative matters now, and the Senate is making another push to revive Nigeria's steel industry as it commences investigation of the nation's largest steel company in Ajaokuta, Kogi State. National Assembly correspondent Isa Mohammed reports on the visit of the investigative committee to the company.
Ajaokuta Steel Company Limited was established in 1979 under the then President Shehu Shagari administration with the core mandate of steel production to fast-track industrialization. At 98% completion, it became a dash hope as its early small-scale fabrication and iron rod production appears to be the only sign of life in the mega factory. Efforts of the current administration and commitments of the 10th Senate to revive the company are seen as promising. Working the company around the moribund facility, the acting chief executive, Kanwal Atongs Joseph, says the management is implementing measures despite challenge of funding and other logistics to bring life to the company's production line.
They are making efforts to put things in order.
The committee observes that at the moment, the company only carry out facilities maintenance.
We are here to ensure that we look at Ajaokuta, be able to marry the physical structures in Ajaokuta with the write-ups that have been submitted to our committee. That is why we are here.
You give an impression that everything is working. Then we will go back and tell the president, don't do anything, everything is working. And that's the mistake we have made time after time by misrepresenting the real issues on ground.
For Ajaokuta Steel Company in Kogi State, Isa Muhammad, Nta News.
And the Federal Inter-Ministerial Committee on Earth Dams Evaluation has conducted inspection of Gubi Dam in Bauchi State with a view to providing necessary measures needed for flood control across the country. Now, the committee's assessment followed the devastating flood, experienced in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, and other states of the Federation. Moasu Hassan reports.
This year's Nigerian flood is said to be a complex problem caused by both natural and man-made causes. The situation that affected more than 30 states, causing deaths and displaced of many people. This inspection by the Federal Committee approved by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has critically reassessed the stability of slopes, water level and the soil strength of Gubi Dam, constructed in 1979.
The dam appears to be in good condition. From physical examination, you see that the dam is good. All the necessary features required of any dam, I think, is properly fixed here. You can look at the riprap, a structure that breaks the waves from affecting the stability of any embankment. Dam is intact. You can also see the crest of the dam, which is, is dressed properly, and even the downstream is okay. So I think from physical examination, we can deduce the healthy status of this dam to say is very good.
The Federal Evaluation Committee has proceeded to Gombe, while its report will be forwarded to President Bola Tinubu for necessary action. In Bauchi, was Hassan, Nta News.
Now, police and immigration service formations across the country, as well as facilities of National Agricultural Development Fund, are to be connected with solar-powered system. Now, this followed Memorandum of Understanding signed between Rural Electrification Agency (REA) and the paramilitary agencies. Joshua Ochito was there.
Beyond signing a handshake, this event is expected to address power challenge informations and commands of the Nigeria Police Force and the Nigeria Immigration Service, as well as boost agricultural production and address post-harvest losses.
Renewable energy has the potential to significantly drive production in terms of quantity and productivity.
We're deploying technology in manning our borders, and all these can only be done if we have a steady supply of power.
Rural Electrification Agency is facilitating and implementing the project in partnership with renewable energy service companies and developers towards building solar mini-grids, electronic charging stations, and solar home systems for the security formations.
Let's have a coordinated approach towards addressing the electricity challenge facing this specific sector. We are also working towards catalyzing investment into Nigeria.
Once we can have power in our police stations and training institutions, we'll be able to solve at least 80% of the problems that we have as with the security infrastructure.
We have to build consortiums, we have to build partnerships. Private sector, we are required to ensure that Nigeria gets power. Government has given us incentives to make things happen.
The essence of this conversation is we want to upscale universal access to energy.
The renewable energy infrastructure for the project will be manufactured in the country to create jobs. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Fantastic. Now, to other stories. Joint Health Sector Workers Union, JOHESU, and Health Professional Association, AHOA, have declared 7 days warning strike with immediate effect to drive home the unmet demands. Earlier made to the federal government, National Chairman of JOHESU, Kabiru Ado Minjibir, made the declaration after an expanded National Executive Council meeting of the affiliate unions held here in Abuja. Joseph Oteng was there.
It is another setback for the health sector in Nigeria. Again, the health workers are suspending services for 7 days, beginning with the federal health institutions.
From Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria, MAUN, Nigerian Union of Allied Health Professionals, NUAP, Senior Staff Association of Universities, Teaching Hospitals, Research Institute, and Associated Institutions, SouthRide, Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions, NASU, shall embark on 7 days strike action. So let me, on behalf of
the workers say the industrial action premises earlier demands made to the federal government to improve healthcare delivery and condition of workers in the country. These include immediate implementation of consolidated medical salary structure adjustment and its 25% review arrears from June to December 2023. Among others is the immediate payment of 9 months' salary to staff of regulatory agencies and immediate restructuring of funding of Environmental Health Regulatory Council and upward review of retirement age of health workers.
However, if at the end of the 7 days warning strike, the federal government fails to meet our demands, JOHESU have no other option than to embark on an indefinite strike action.
The health workers had suspended the strike action they embarked on June 5, 2023, upon personal intervention of current President Bola Tinubu. Though they acknowledge that some good reforms have been made to improve healthcare delivery in the country, they feel implementation of most of their demands remains slow. In Abuja, Joseph Otsen, NTA News.
Now, several health crises militating against national growth can best be mitigated by strong multi-sectoral collaboration, as improving health outcomes top the agenda of the federal government coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare. Professor Adipati highlighted this at the Future of Health Conference 2024 in Abuja. Oluseyi Adiagbo was there.
Nigeria has faced significant climate-related disruptions like flooding and droughts. These have led to sharp increase in climate-sensitive diseases, even exacerbating infectious and non-communicable diseases. For the coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, the renewed Hope sector-wide approach on health is designed to navigate all these challenges.
Investing in primary health care, because that's the basis for resilience to deal with many of these challenges and to cope with the challenges that are emerging. To the value chain, creating avenues where responding to climate also creates an economic value, whether it's in solarization of our facilities and other ways that we're adapting to this challenge.
But also looking at the impact of climate change on very vulnerable populations, for example, pregnant women. So this conference today is looking at how we can translate the evidence that we see in front of us of the impact in climate change to action that leads to us responding with adaptation methodologies, and also not forgetting that we need to also mitigate some of these impacts.
Nigeria is taking very strong steps. We're yet to realize the results. We're at the very beginning of this journey, but I am extremely hopeful and optimistic that we're moving in the right direction to be able to reach those people that are most vulnerable in Nigeria and to ensure that we do not get to see a life that is lost because of the climate crisis.
The 2024 Future of Health Conference, a program at Nigeria Health Watch to drive impactful solutions for the country's healthcare system, is themed From Evidence to Action, Building Resilience at the Climate Health Nexus. Abuja, Oluseyi Adiagbo, Nta News.
And the promise by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to fulfill the commitment made by previous administration to establish a UNESCO International Category 2 Media and Information Literacy Institute in Nigeria is being met. Now, Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris at a symposium to mark 2024 Global Media and Information Literacy Week in Abuja assured citizens empowerment with relevant tools to navigate the dynamic information environment. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara has the report.
Like other nations, Nigeria is conscious of the growing digital revolution and is demonstrating the political will to meeting global practices of inculcating moral values and laying fundamental skills to promote citizens' media literacy using the UNESCO Category 2 International Media and Information Literacy Institute in Nigeria.
It has become imperative and crucial that we empower our citizens with the tools they need to navigate this complex information environment, especially with the advent of artificial intelligence, which will make it more complex. Media and information literacy becomes essential in empowering individuals to critically assess the information they encounter, discern credible sources, and engage responsibly with media content. It is imperative that our schools, universities, and community as a whole prioritize media literacy programs, ensuring that our youth are equipped to thrive in this digital age.
To complement ongoing efforts, the minister wants content creators and social media influencers to prioritize the interests of the nation and uphold the highest ethical standards.
I want to say it to UNESCO and the world over that Nigeria is ready for the MIA. It is our conviction that given the level of commitment and interest shown by Mr. President and the entire team working on this project, we will indeed succeed. This institute, when it finally kicks off, will offer programs and courses that equip Nigerians, Africans, and people worldwide.
UNESCO representative in Nigeria acknowledges the country's leading role in implementing the global desire of a purposeful media ecosystem.
And really congratulations for Nigeria leading MIL here in Africa and beyond Africa.
Our shared goal is to emerge from these two engagements with greater clarity, strengthened partnerships, and a renewed commitment to promoting media and information literacy.
The symposium, with the theme Empowering Nigerians Through Digital Literacy, Navigating the New Media Frontiers for Inclusive Public Information, features presentation on the importance of media and information literacy, jointly organized by the International Media and Information Literacy Institute, the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, and the UNESCO Abuja office. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
All right, let's take a short break. News Desk at 6 will return in just a moment.
My administration took over leadership of our country 16 months ago at a critical juncture. The economy faced many headwinds and our physical security highly impaired. We found ourselves at a distant crossroad where we must choose between two paths: reform for progress and prosperity, or carry on the business as usual and collapse. We decided to reform our political economy and defense architecture.
All right, welcome back. You're watching News Desk at 6 on Nta News 24. Now, with the federal government's determination to escalate exploration of crude oil production across Nigeria, to be just known as an oil-producing state is no longer enough for Kogi State. Now, Governor of the state, Ahmed Usman Ododo, now wants to take concrete steps to make the state a real player in that sector. Lydia Sampson has the report.
With dwindling global funding on fossil fuel, the Minister of State Petroleum Resources Oil, Henneke Lokobiri, says getting crude oil out of the ground speedily is key, and government cannot do it alone.
Our ambition here as government is to see how we can make the necessary investments, so that there will be more money for all the 3 tiers of government. Because these are foundation assets. Whenever we increase production and the money comes in, it goes to federation account. And it is distributed to all tiers of government. And that is why we don't want to relent in our effort towards ensuring that we ramp up production.
The Kogi State Governor is on the same page. He says his visit is mainly to collaborate on the prompt harnessing of the enormous natural resources the state is endowed with.
We want to unlock our potentials to make sure the natural gifts gifted us by Almighty, by God Almighty, start working for us during your own time. We are here today to present ourselves to you, to please hold Kogi State as your baby state.
With Kogi State strategically located as a confluence state and already designated an oil state, they are optimistic if oil is found in commercial quantity, it will not only make the state a real player in the oil and gas, but also double government efforts to increase production. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
And coordinators of the Livestock Productivity and Resilience Support Project, LPRES, are engaging officers nationwide to advocate for the protection of women's rights, while also strengthening Nigeria's potential for growth in livestock farming. Now, the national coordinator of the project, Sanusi Abubakar, is optimistic that issues in selected value chains will be addressed. Garba Natala tells us more.
The two-day workshop seeks to highlight the peculiar circumstances women are facing in the agricultural sector and advocates for their rights and freedom from all forms of gender-based violence. The training aims to build upon the knowledge and expertise of officers drawn from 21 states across the country.
30% of our beneficiaries, that is the expected direct beneficiaries, 1.43 million, should be women. So it's very critical to us, and we know the role women are playing in the agri sector, especially the livestock sector. We have been supporting women from the equipment, input, training, good animal hygiene, good milk hygiene collection.
Facilitators believe agriculture, being a tool of local economic growth, will support livelihoods in the communities these participants are serving.
Communities themselves will be the people that will drive this process forward, because when people are not there, when there are issues of GVP, what happens? And then there is also need for us to also have what we call support for sexual assault referral centers.
What they do at the health facility is to examine the survival and give proper medication, psychological assistance, and also legal assistance happen there, because we have lawyers, we have police, we have counselors that will counsel the survivor on what to do next.
Like when I was young, we discovered that most of these people that are into livestock, they are women. They do it for passion, not even for commercial purpose alone. They do it for passion. You see so many houses, they are rearing either birds, goats, and they know how to do these things.
When these women are mainstream and empowered, they will also help the family and help the men to achieve their purpose.
To make their impact felt, the Livestock Productivity and Resilience Support Project, LPRES, adopted gender mainstreaming in addressing gender inequalities, an inclusive approach that integrates women, men, and youths as beneficiaries. In Abuja, Garb Muhammad Natala, Nta News.
And let's remind you once again of top stories in our news. Nigeria Police Force Immigration Service, as well as National Agricultural Development Fund facilities, are to be connected with solar-powered systems. The Nigeria health workers declare immediate strike over unmet demands.
If at the end of the 7 days warning strike, the federal government fails to meet our demands, Jehesu have no other option than to embark on an indefinite strike.
And federal government takes bold step to mitigate flooding as committee inspects dams.
Examination, we can deduce the healthy status of this dam to say is very good.
All right, stakeholders are brainstorming at a breakout session of the Nigerian Accountability Summit to strengthen good governance and achieve a corrupt-free society. Correspondent reports that the session is organized by United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime in Abuja.
Women, youth, and people living with disabilities are an integral part of the society. Hence, the need for them to be actively involved in the fight against corruption to help strengthen good governance, promote transparency, and engender accountable government. The summit this year had panelists from different organizations who engaged participants on the need for a holistic approach towards achieving the theme of the summit.
Together with the National Bureau of Statistics, launched a very important report, the third National Corruption Survey report in Nigeria this year. One of the things we found out from that report is that corruption consistently has no respect, if I'll put it that way, for any form of citizens. So we'll see that it affects women, it affects youth, it affects people with disability.
Fighting corruption and accountability and good governance requires whole of society approach.
And that means that every member of our society is required in this fight for strengthening transparency and good governance.
Many a times, most of these people are excluded from these kinds of conversations, and a lot of time people just feel that they are vulnerable and they are left out, and they don't even have an input to what it means to be a citizen of the country.
For participants, the chance to commit to being a positive influence, being the change they want to see in the society, has presented itself.
It's not just to come, listen and leave. You need to get your key takeaways and actively take steps that will ensure that, okay, I'm doing something for myself and I'm doing something for the society as well.
The convener says the overall aim of the summit is geared towards producing good leaders who will turn the fortunes of the nation. Frama Panyi, NTA News.
And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu commiserates with the family, friends and associates of Professor Henry Nwosu, former chairman of the National Electoral Commission, NEC, who died in a U.S. hospital on October the 24th. Professor Nwosu was chairman of NEC from 1989 to 1993 and oversaw the historic June 12, 1993 presidential election, which General Ibrahim Babangida annulled. Before the ill-fated presidential election, Nwosu's NEC had conducted the governorship and parliamentary election using an innovative, inexpensive option A4, in which voters queued behind the photographs of their candidates at polling stations. Now, the president, in a statement, expresses his deep sorrow at the loss of a patriot and national asset who played a significant role in shaping the democracy that Nigeria enjoys today. The president prays God Almighty to grant the soul of the departed political scientist eternal rest and divine comfort for those who mourn him. And that's our news for tonight. We thank you for watching. Please do join us again on the network service later tonight at 9 and of course at 7 on NTA International for NTA International News at 7. I am Claire Adelabu Abdurrazak from me and the news crew. Have a good day.